So just want to hit a few things now. Again, you guys saw it's a good deal for Murphy. He'll be up for an award Monday down at the AFCA convention this week, which is Bobby Bowden Award, combination of an academic, athletic, it says FCA-oriented deal too, so that's a good deal. Rarick got in the East-West game. That's back-to-back years too. Bowles a year before, and that's kind of good to give him a chance because, in his world, Colin's a good player, but he's kind of a center body in the NFL. They only take so many guys in center guard value, and for some scouts to work with him, because if you can play dual positions, even though he played guard for us, he'll have a hard time maybe body type transitioning, but that's going to be a great deal for him. You guys are aware, of the Tevin deal, and of course that's why we're here with our one running back today, but Tevin's deal is a good deal, and not only to be All-American, but to get unanimous and hit everyone across the deal was a really, really strong deal. So those are good. Matter of fact, with Murphy and Coleman, technically two All-Americans this year, back-to-back academic for Murph, and then Tev is a first-teamer. Academics now on our side, for what it's worth. We didn't go public a lot, but we had 55 guys that were 3-0, 48 guys carrying the cum. Team GPA average of over 2.8. And for example, Tevin Coleman, 4 Bs and an A, 2,036 yards. Not like I say, pretty good off the field. Antonio Allen, here's a guy, plays a freshman, gets hurt, misses a lot of spring, really comes on strong at the end of football. He has a 3.55. So you're seeing some things where, Jason Spriggs, well over 3-point, and hadn't been that kind of student. So you like that, because I think some of those successful traits kind of keep carrying into the football success, which we need to get to. And I'm not saying, hey, it's great we're doing good in school. It's nice we're doing good. I think that's a part of a winning culture. So just want to share some of that, deal with that. Semester starts technically tomorrow. These guys are here, got orientation out of the way. It starts technically Monday. Our guys report tomorrow night. We'll have a quick meeting and actually start into our off-season program. And what we're looking to do, we've not finalized it, but it's technically a 9-week shot starting next Monday through spring break. And I think we're going to take the bulk of that period this year and commit all that to off-season work. We got a lot of young players with the first-year guys that played the last 2 years. So we've probably got well over probably 60%, 65% of our team that have just been here for 3 semesters or less. So we're talking it's spring 2, spring 1. And that's where one of my comments the other days is we need some of, whether it be the new transfer guys or some of those first-year guys like a T. Gray Scales or a Gooch or a Don Booth or Semi Cobbs, unique guys that are in their first spring, but they played so much or their role is so big, you want them to be going into like their 6th semester, not their 2nd, from a mental standpoint, a maturity standpoint of how to really go through spring and work. But the semester starts, we're looking at going 9 weeks of workouts and really not starting spring ball till after spring break. Years past, we've done either 3, 4, or 5 practices before. This year, doing it later. Probably looking to have a combination of, and we're working with our nothing set in stone yet, but probably we will not practice Easter Saturday that weekend, which I think is April 5th is that magic day, I think, or 4th, whatever. But come back, and I think maybe on the 11th, have some type of spring event. That's kind of been the date the last couple of years of our spring game. And it's gotten really good with the youth clinic we do, and the fan support's gotten good, and the energy, and it's gotten bigger, and the fan crowd's gotten bigger, and we'll probably do something that week, but we'll have a few practices, and I'm looking maybe to try to tie a scrimmage into the Little 500 weekend, which actually is the next week. I don't know if we can do that yet. We've reached out saying, is there a way to work something around? Years ago, I remember when you could scout spring games. I was sitting in the stands on a Thursday night, Little 500 kickoff weekend. I think it was 91 or 92, watching spring game on Thursday, and it was the end of spring ball. So maybe having kind of 2 spring games, not to truly have a spring game, have a public scrimmage, using that weekend we've been using. I think that thing's really kicked off in a good way. We want to build on that. But because we backed up spring, maybe to tie with Little 5, and that's not my call, and it's not the athletic department's call, but and maybe that doesn't work. If not, we'll just have our practices. So we're looking to go from starting the week after. Matter of fact, we'll come off a spring break and actually probably, see you later, have some running and workouts on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and not start spring ball to Thursday to really knock the rust out of the kids coming off a spring break. So semester starting, we're looking at a 9-week winter workout session, spring ball going up to around maybe a Little 500 weekend. So get that. We'll have an official calendar coming out. Our football coaches conventions this week, and it's actually down in Louisville. So from here, our guys are heading down there, and it's always fun. A lot of coaches. We'll see a bunch of guys. Staff-wise, no one's right now. Of course, the guys can come and go. Everything's stable now. We do have potential GA change with Carter Whitson's out of time here this semester. We'll replace. I still have a recruiting spot open with Jeff Sims that moved on the field, but right now staff's intact. We'll see how that goes. And then recruiting, I can't talk about a whole lot, but we're doing good. And if those of you that look at recruiting ratings, like for example, because I pulled yours up the other day, your site from 2002 to 2010, those years, if you pull up the rankings of our conference, it will now include all 14 teams. So it would actually throw Rutgers in the mix and Nebraska in the mix and all that. We were 14th majority time with 111 and 112, and I think we had 6 14s. Our first year we were 11, then we're 12. I think we went 4th, 7th, and now we're sitting at 6. So the recruiting thing's really picked up. And now just because they committed don't mean they're coming. Water over the dam, last minute changes, a coach change and leaves, all kinds of things like that. So trust me, you recruit committed kids harder than you're trying to get guys, but you're recruiting guys, and we're also now looking at those juniors and sophomores, getting them to junior days and basketball games coming up and getting them to spring practice. So it's not that it's hectic, it's just we're very much into it. We'll be able to take 20, these guys count as 2 of our 25. That's the max you can take. You cannot, if you had more spots than that, sign more than that. So we'll bring in a total of 25, counting Marquis and Jordan. It looks good on paper. It still has to one finish. We need a few more spots we can get. Who those spots are, sometimes you're getting to the point there's a couple things you need, but also like on the draft board, best available, hard not to walk away from certain guys. So we'll use that mindset a little bit. A lot of athletic guys. I think there's 5 or 6 guys that played quarterback, but they translated at tight end or offense positions or defensive positions. So anyway, it's looking good on paper. We'll see how that finishes up. And again, it would be 3rd in a row on paper of better starting points with guys. And then with that, I think you guys got any questions? I'll talk about those guys. Any questions about it? That's kind of fast.
Yeah, what's the status of Nate at this point? Is he going to
something he's, he'll be able to, I think, practice in spring. I think also even Chris Covington, although I think they'll be limited where they're not going to be allowed to contact, but we don't contact quarterbacks. So there's a point in time where maybe it's going to be almost looking like they always look because they have that blue jersey on. So I don't know, Chris, from a running standpoint, it might be like he can only pocket throw, don't get him running around or sudden breaking. But I think, Nate's already throwing some. His issue is going to be one side he's going to be able to lift and do a lot, and the other side not. And the development, the atrophy, all that kind of stuff that's there. But he should be. He called me 2 days ago, and he's been working out with what he can do. Feels okay. He'll be limited in workouts, but he's going to be doing everything with limitations of today. You cannot bench, but you can do this exercise. So he's not going to be on his own.
Is there anybody you expect that's not going to be available because of injuries or surgeries that they've had?
Jacob Bailey had a knee that will limit him through spring. He's always fought through it, and it's a backup lineman. I think that's it. Everybody else is kind of minor. We got some shoulders. We're going to get stronger. Or some guys coming off ankles, and the guys like Tommy Mister's kind of full go day 1 in January running, and he should be full go for spring. And so in that regard, I could be missing, but nothing that sticks out glaringly. I think Nate being limited, where Tommy Mister really comes to those guys, and Chris Covington are probably the main stories there.
The opportunity to get a running back, you lose a quality running back, obviously, and then you get a 1,500-yard, almost 1,600-yard guy. How big is that in terms of getting?
Okay, I'll hit that 1 second. Anything else on that other stuff before we go with anything else? Spring, cool. We'll get you a spring calendar exactly. Some fans or whatever, but anything. Okay.
So you're in a dead period right now, though,
actually,
right?
Yeah, dead till Wednesday because of our convention. That's to make everyone go to the convention instead of recruit. And then I think the smaller schools, 1AAs and academies, can even have kids on campus this weekend recruit. But it starts Thursday, and you technically have 3 weeks, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday counts as a week. So you're allowed 3 contacts. So you'll prioritize Thursday, and because that's MLK weekend, our visits that weekend, which are not going to be a lot, are going to come in on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So we can use all day Thursday and all day Friday. And not just for seniors, but for junior. We'll be watching basketball games, of top junior skill guys Friday night or whatever Friday night to take advantage. But you get a contact at the end of this week coming up, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the 2 remaining weeks. But we are dead right now. Good. Okay, so then talking about these guys and your question. First of all, we got Marquis and Jordan, and there's a 3rd kid that actually played on their team that's from Cardinal Ritter, Kyrie Hollis, that didn't get an opportunity, and and wanted to walk on. I actually think he was a walk-on player down there, and his name's gotten out as joining. He's kind of coming close to home. He joins as a walk-on player, and we'll see what that role's like. First of all, both these guys. In your recruiting class, these two guys don't even count in recruiting rankings. So, like Marquis, when he came out 2 years ago, was a 5'7" with the Rivals. He's a mid-high 3-star guy. He had a lot of opportunities, but he goes to Florida and it doesn't work out. So one, it didn't work out. So one, that doesn't mean it's necessarily you got this. You know, a lot of guys on paper don't pan out. He did transfer. He was asked to go to defense and didn't like it. Went to UAB. That thing is shut down. Now he's been on scout team. So our deal with him coming in, he's a big body. We've lost some size at receiver the last couple of years, so we like that. But to me, I see him as a player that's going to need a great offseason because it didn't work at one place, and now it's, you know, I've been on a scout team. So to have unrealistic expectations, hey, pencil this. None of these guys are penciled in as ones, but you like his size, his athletic potential, and what you saw in high school. But now you haven't seen a whole lot because you don't see him for a year, and now you got a scout team guy. So you're going a little bit off of projections. So my thing on both these guys, let's be realistic about expectations. Because on paper, good-looking recruit. Let's see if we can get him off to a great spring and summer to get in the mix to be a solid. He'll be a 3-for-3 player. So he's got 3 years to play, and let's see where it goes with Marquis. But we're excited about him. He brings the size. We had a void at sophomore, junior receiver. So mathematically, you like the size, you like the mix, and we need to get him up to speed. And I think with Dom and Simeon, those guys, gives us a similar body to work with. And he's a great kid. You'll get a chance to meet him. He's from Columbus Carter, where Keontae Walton's from, and some guys we've recruited. Then in Jordan's situation, again with Tevin, we knew great chance. Tevin told us probably late December, I say late December 18 or 19 or 20, he was going to go out. But the deal was you don't announce it. Like, for example, notice all the guys are waiting till the end because the good players wait to the end because it makes it look like you're making a mature decision. He told me he was going to announce January 5th. And I'm at the airport the week before on Monday, and Ked calls and says he's out today. And I was already set to see Jordan the next day. That wasn't by design. I was going to see Jordan because Jordan actually said, come see me on Wednesday. And I said, well, it's New Year's Eve #1, and we got all them bowl games starting at 12 o'clock. I want to watch. Can we go Tuesday? And he and his mom accommodated Tuesday. So, but then it happened where Tevin, you know, my advice to Tevin was you need to go as long as you can because it adds value to you. Now, Jordan knew the situation looked like he was going. Everybody's all freaked out. What's Tevin doing? He did his thing the right way, and we support and behind his decision all the way. Same time now, Jordan coming in. The greatest thing I'll say about Jordan, outside of liking what I saw on tape, I liked his comment that someone wrote I think it might have been an ESPN guy. I'm not coming to replace Tevin. I'm coming to do the best I can and help our team win. And I think that says a lot about a guy that's 7th in the nation in running and has the 2nd most carries. So to me, we're getting a proven player, which you like. That's going to be probably a different type player, bigger back, different speed, probably have a lot more, you know, being able to handle more of a workload. But we will start day 1, and those 2 guys are going to earn their position, and we'll see where it goes. But he was and we didn't know he was there. Word came out a week before UAB closed. Hey, they're maybe shut down. So it's always, well, what they got? You know, they're winning some games. They got a couple. They got to have a player or 2. Could have been an offensive tackle. Could have been a defensive tackle if there was a kid. And we looked at a lot of guys, but a couple we didn't. Some of them we didn't like, and a few guys we kind of inquired about, didn't have interest. We didn't go after a lot, but we looked at tape. We looked at honors. We looked at all conference who was having success. We had recommendations of guys. A lot of guys we didn't like. But it was unique that as we looked, one of the premier players on the team was a running back, and we felt the situation with Tevin. So it ended up being a perfect match. We didn't go there thinking that was going to be the case. It was a blessing. It was.
What kind of similarities or differences do you see in the way that Jordan runs and the way that Tevin runs?
Don't know yet, other than just watching tape. So until you got it on tape, but I would assume you're going to get a guy that can handle workload because the 2nd most carries, over 300 carries. 25 points something per game. When, you know, as far as the number of attempts per game, like 2nd in the nation. How many fumbles you have? You know? How many? 2, because your team had 13. I already looked at it. How many did you have? So like, what's ball security? What's, you know, how are you know? But turn, you know, will be a little bit bigger. I don't think maybe the home run speed, but also maybe a different style of back, and you'll play to those strengths, and we'll see if we get it. But what I do know to me is we're getting a great kid, a lot like Tevin. His maturity, academic background, his family background, a very mature kid, and to me a very proven player that to me is filling a void of we're losing a proven player. Maybe it's going to be different. We'll see as he goes.
With Marquis, especially you talked about his size and his athleticism. How much do you feel like you missed some of that size at receiver last year?
I think the last couple of years, something we've talked about a lot is we've recruited maybe some guys with speed, but there was not that 6'1", 6'2", 6'. And I don't think you need to be 6. Some of those 6'4", 5s aren't going to be as fast or as good. I can't get out of breaks, so be careful. You can get too big. But I thought we've gotten a little small, so that's why one of our things was. And in recruiting, as we've recruited, we've tried to add a little bit more size. But him being older and him having size was the very attractive thing. And then we liked what we saw with his high school tape.
Kevin, the offense, I don't know what they ran down there in terms of offense.
Very similar.
I was going to ask, what's the transition going to be like?
Very similar. Matter of fact, I think Jordan will tell you he went through 2 offenses, one more of a pro style, because he basically had the guys working in Louisville now. With Coach Petrino, Garrett McGee was his first offensive coach, and as the head coach was an offensive guy, so a little bit more of a, which would be a little bit more protection and check oriented, and went into a little bit more of a gun spread, no huddle. And so there's going to be some similarities. I think the learning curve for both those guys. And I think with Marquis coming out of that offense, and also at Florida, he'll say that I think it's kind of nice in a championship game where you've got to run the pro style to make it. All the pro styles going to college now. The no huddle, up tempo, spread offenses are playing in the national championship game. What doesn't work? Anything else? 2 great kids. Now and again, by protocol, this is your one shot, because they go radio silent until they play in that first game. So this is their shot. But, and I will say this, I don't have undue expectations, because that's one of my things. I want to be guarded. They're mature kids that we need. They're coming in with some talent. They seem to be great kids, but let's be real. You got to earn your stripes, earn the respect of your teammates and peers. And to just come in and you're anointed, no. And I think that we need to make sure we don't set them up to fail. Just because statistically you had stats one year doesn't mean you have stats the next. Hey, I didn't have success one program, doesn't mean I'm going to here. They're both good guys, they're both good talents. I think going forward, we're just excited we'll get spring, and they do fill voids. It'll be interesting to see how they take advantage and run with it. I appreciate you being here.
Touchdown! And Indiana will take back the bucket for the 2nd straight year.